Alright guys, before today's episode, just a quick reminder that we are on Patreon for as little as £3 a month. You can sign up and get access to an extra episode every 2 weeks, plus bonus content from all our previous live shows, including full behind the scenes footage from the Pavilion, a behind the scenes documentary recorded at the Fringe last year, and there will also be the new Fringe show that we've done this year, Summer Live, will be up there very shortly as well.
Yes, you will also get first dibs on future live show announcements, ticket sales. We sometimes put on little work in progress shows with the pals, don't we? They always sell out very fast, but they're very fun.
Stand-up Fringe show thing.
And you can sleep easy at night knowing that you're helping us tick over, pay our editors and all that kind of carry on, and keep it a well-oiled machine. Isn't that right, Mark?
Absolutely. And we are, of course, we'll just probably be finishing up the Fringe by the time this episode comes out, but tickets still available if you'd like to come and see us the last couple of days.
And thanks to all the listeners who have been out as well. It's always nice to meet listeners at the Bucket, and it's been good, isn't it?
Always been brilliant, yeah. So thank you so much to everybody that comes along to the live shows and stuff like that, stand-up.
Yeah, it's been great.
Good to see you there. Aside from that, I think that's about it. Obviously, do check out, we'll put links in the description for any upcoming stand-up dates as well. But aside from all that, enjoy today's episode.
Enjoy the episodes.
Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh. Yeah, well, that's us rolling. Colin, thank you so much.
Here we go.
That's it.
The races.
Thanks so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
It's a pleasure. I'm doing good. I thought I was doing better than I was when I started talking. I haven't spoken yet today.
It's all
until I got
unraveling.
here, there's a hello. How you getting on, lads? You all right? Yeah. Like a darts player or something.
Because we're like a week into Fringe now. So
It's a week. Is it a whole week already?
yeah.
Nearly into
Guess
it. Although
so.
I didn't start till Thursday.
Right.
I was filming in Budapest.
Much too busy.
What were you filming, can you say?
And they do say it Pest, but it's still you still feel like an absolute bellend, don't you? It's Budapest. It's like when people say like Lyon.
Barcelona.
Yeah. When people pronounce things properly, you just sound like a dickhead.
Well, I was talking to someone about this recently, because you know how Americans always say Ibiza?
Yeah. Do
And
they?
it's-
I don't.
Yeah, but
I
like,
believe you.
obviously we say Ibiza, but that's the same as saying Barcelona, because it is spelled Ibiza.
So
So
is it actually, what do the Spanish say?
they say Ibiza, I think.
So we're right.
Chile.
Yeah,
yeah,
We're
right.
right on
but
that.
we are inconsistent, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Because we
yeah,
don't
very
say
much so.
Barcelona.
That's true.
But
yeah.
we do
you
say
not?
Ibiza.
Do you not say Barcelona? Because that sounds like you're doing a Spanish impression. It sounds like you're taking the piss.
I
Doesn't
feel
it?
like Anna Mann could say Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Colin has to say Barcelona.
Yeah, definitely.
Budapest.
Yeah. Oh, proper actor people definitely do all that stuff, don't they? They always say it in the correct way. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't. But anyway, it will come to me in about 20 minutes.
But so obviously, like, you've done a lot of Fringes, Colin, eh? And
When did you first come?
I first came. I did when I was like 16. I did a show called Roman Scandals. I think I was 16. I might have been 17. I might have been 18. But in my head, I was 16. I was very young. But that was part of a Nottingham youth theatre group thing, and I was Mark Antony, and it was Antony and Cleopatra and Julius Caesar put together for 1 hour. Heavily truncated. Which
Condensing all of Roman
I
history
only learned
into...
because that was in the review. And it apparently means cut short. You know what I mean? Just shoved together. But genuinely got like 5 stars in the Scotsman. I was read it said like I was a natural Shakespearean genius, and I've never had 5 stars from the Scotsman since. Can
you
I don't know who
still
that
use
dude
that
was
quote?
who wrote that review, but he was.
That seems
you know what I mean?
really out of character for the Scotsman to give 5 to a student. Like, with respect to a student.
He was blown away. He said Cleopatra's the best I've ever seen, and I saw Glenda Jackson. I'm like, I don't think. I mean, it was good, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure what was
Maybe
going on with that
senile
guy.
or
to be
something.
honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he might have been having a breakdown or something. Do you know what I mean? Or he's just really hungover, and he's just like, "Oh, it's so brilliant," you know. But yeah, so that was the first time, and then I came up in. But the first sort of, you know, as a proper adult was in 2004, so 20 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
And were you in a double act then?
Yeah, Colin and Fergus with Fergus Craig, if you know him, stand up. He was.
I'm aware of him from Twitter and stuff.
Doing stand up, yeah. I think he's still doing stand up. Sorry, Fergus, if you haven't. But he me and him did Colin and Fergus in the Pleasance. I've always done the Pleasance just because I'm a fucking creature of habit, to be honest. It's like, you know, when you get a chair in a room, but then the next day you just sit in the same chair in an office. I'm so like that. So
what was it like back then, like 2004 compared to like now? What would you say is big differences?
Didn't seem massively different, if I'm brutally honest.
Really?
I remember like doing it and all sort of like talking to Al Murray and people like that and being like, oh, it used to be completely different. You know, everyone used to get to test their shows more. I think probably you need to hit the ground running more and reviews happen on day one more.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like that when I went up, to be honest. You know, people always bemoaning about the corporate side of it and all that stuff, but it felt like that in 2004, really.
Yeah.
I don't feel it's changed that much. Just more people, I think, and more review sites with like weird names and sort of thing.
And so, like, see from then, like, what kind of shows had you done? Because obviously you'd done Anna Mann for a few years, like the character act thing in recent times, obviously got nominated last year and stuff like that. Now you're doing doing it as yourself.
Yeah.
But this is obviously kind of first time you've done a show as you.
Yeah.
Which
crazy,
is
really.
Weird. Yeah, I know, it's mad, isn't it? It's like, it took me 20 years playing all these parts to find out who Colin is, you know.
Are you up for best newcomer, no?
I'm going for it,
You could do the other, you know, John Cairns won one and then the next, you could do the opposite, where if you'd have won it last year, I know you were nominated and then you could win newcomer.
Best show then, best newcomer.
I'd be up for that. Made me feel a lot younger, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But what kind of, so see the years in between then, like, were you doing, was it just like doing sketch stuff, doing plays and doing, what kind of stuff were you doing?
No, I've done like constant sort of reinvention. Do you know what I mean? But I think it is, you know, you've seen the show, haven't you, Mark? And I talk quite a bit about having ADHD, like everyone does, fucking hell, but, you know, but it's like, I think I just can't settle. I can't go, this is really good, let's keep doing this. So I did these shows in like so first I did the shows with Ferg, and then I did a show with a mate called Dave McNeil, which was a lot of fun, which is called Zimbani, which was like a sort of Wild Geese. Do you remember that Richard Burton film where they were like swilling whiskey and kind of like, God damn it, you know. And I played a character called Harry Lanarkas, and it was like, God damn it, Lanarkas, you know, that kind of stuff. It was really good fun, but just stupid. God, I think back to that. I don't think we had a script when we turned up.
Really?
Like in my life, we've done loads of stuff, but we didn't really know. You what, sorry?
Can't be that corporate at the Fringe in that year if you're pissing around.
Well, that's true, but I think that was one of them. But your agent's always like, I think you should do it. Do you know what I mean? And looking back, I think they should have gone, what are you doing? But it was a lot of fun. Anyway, sorry, what am I talking about? Yeah, then I did a load of shows as myself. Not as myself, but like Colin Hoult solo shows, but where it was like a load of characters.
Yeah.
I did this one called Carnival of Monsters that's still kind of like my proudest hour, not including this show, but you know, like that, because that was like this weird Victorian setup, and I'd play all these different characters, like Len Parko, who's like this Nottingham karate bloke. First line was a line I'd seen on a bus, which was in Nottingham, which was can a piece of clothing change your life? If it's a black belt. And he was just but he was based on also because I used to work in an old folks home years and years ago. The first day I went in, I met this guy who's like sat in the in like the the staff room, you know. And he's like, all right. And I was like, I'm Colin. He went, yeah. Do you do much karate? Genuinely the first thing he said, like wearing a string vest. He worked there, like he was a care assistant or whatever. I don't even know his name.
Karate?
Do you do much karate then? Yeah, do you do much karate then? Like, as in he'd just been waiting for someone to come in now.
So good.
And then he like told me this whole story about doing karate. And this bloke, and he kept calling him Sensei, which I use in this Sensei. And he was having this fight with this guy, and but the guy was like 14 or something, and he was like, Sensei, is this full contact? Is this full? And Sensei was like, no, it's not. You know, it's just whatever. What do you call it? Sparring or whatever. You know. And this kid like kicks me in my leg, and I'm like, stop the fight, Sensei. You said this was not full contact. This lad's just kicked me in the leg. And the Sensei was like, just play on, you know. And he kicks me in the balls. I'm like, Sensei, stop the fight, right? And then it sounds made up, it's all true, right? And then he goes, so we kept going. And I went, right, I've got you, mate. And then Sensei went, right, go on, fight. And I broke his fucking arm. Unbelievable. And then he literally like went out to like, change a woman's catheter or something. It was so upsetting. But anyway, so I did these shows and they were like It sort of had this wraparound idea of a sort of a Victorian cabaret, like sort of really weird hammer horror type thing.
Yeah.
But the kind of concept was that all the characters are actually just like blokes from Nottingham. This bloke called Mike who just like worked in an office, you know what I mean? Just go, I'm Mike, I'm a normal bloke, you know, I believe in sticking to what you know. And but done like it was a ringmaster, and I had like mates in it being like kind of Frankenstein type creatures pop. So it was really epic, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Which
yeah.
is not too dissimilar in a way to the show you're doing now.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Because, like, obviously, like, I seen it in March and I loved it, and I thought, like, it's better. You're doing it as a work in progress, and I'm like, this is better than most finished shows I've seen. I loved it, and obviously, like, you know, you're such a great actor, and you really can bring these characters to life, and like in the show, you're kind of doing that with your like members of your family and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and you're like, there was so many wee like turns of phrase that you said, and one of them was like when you're just talking about he's not right, like when you kept saying that, because me and Louise that I went with, like we've just been quoting that ever since, because it's like,
well, because I talk about discovering, you know, and like I say in the show, I think I am autistic, but I'm like self-diagnosed, you know. But I have the joke, I'm also self-diagnosed as a wonderful lover. But genuinely, I just can't with the ADHD. The idea of then trying to fucking get a new diagnosis is like, oh no. Yeah. It took me like years to build up to the. But anyway, but I say like we didn't have all these words like autism, neurodiversity growing up. You know, we just had a simple phrase, he's not right. That's all we need.
Catch all term. It was an umbrella term.
Yeah. But it's I really enjoyed doing that bit, because like, especially because wherever you are in the country, it can have a really different resonance even within the room, you know, like kind of like doing clubs like we were together and stuff, because you could sort of feel half the room who are sort of like, it was like that, you know, as in who are neurodiverse or maybe just a bit more understanding in that, and then half the room going, yeah, you're right. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of both sides. I love that moment. It's quite exciting, isn't it?
Get two people laughing for different reasons.
Yeah.
But because I thought, like, because when I went to see you, I'd seen the Anna Mann show, and obviously you'd been billing this as like the first time kind of doing it as yourself, and I was really curious to see it, because I was like, that must be really difficult to kind of like to just be yourself after being characters and stuff for so long. But as I say, like, it was amazing, and I think obviously you still see wee bits of the character and that, and then also as I say, like the real like. What was so brilliant about that was like you could just feel like you knew every one of your family members, because you are so good at becoming them and explaining them and other wee traits and stuff like that.
And they're so odd and weird, do you know what I mean, out there, that like people, I didn't think anyone would relate to any of it, you know what I mean, like even the not right thing, you know. I talk about my mum used to just walk around going, I might as well be dead. She just say it like, but like it's a programme going on that she didn't like on telly, I might as well be dead. But I think a lot of these sort of things were in like Carnival of Monsters, like in the characters already, but I just didn't have the sort of. I've never seen myself as a stand-up at all, because I guess because I came from acting, and Fergus in a way was more like he was a big fan of. He sort of introduced me to it, really, you know, and I wasn't like Bill Hicks and Richard Pryor, you know, and those back then, and it's and things like Peter Kay, you know, which are very broad and, you know, which I love, you know, which I could really relate to with my family and stuff. But like, don't know, I think I've always seen myself as an actor and coming out and sort of putting on a show, you know. Yeah. And it's taken me years and years and years of kind of basically doing it to go, I am doing it, and I have been doing it.
Absolutely. Like, come the long way around. I've been doing
it, for at least maybe like 20 years, because sketch. But even with the sketch shows, me and Fergie used to, you know, I was still talking to the audience, I was still relating to the crowd and stuff, you know. It wasn't like fourth wall particularly.
No.
But I've sort of, it was still like a wrench to try and to come off, even like the first shows there, you come off just feeling like really weird and a bit sick, and like, because I've been myself. Do you know what I mean?
Does it feel any more exposing for you to be up there as really you with no wig on or anything?
Yeah. Because the big difference also is with Anna. Anna Mann, who, if people don't know, is like an actor, a lovely actress type character. It's based on a real.
I'm sure there's a little ripple of recognition at home for Anna Mann.
Little ripple of recognition. Can't say anymore. She's dead. A ripple of recognition. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But with her, because she's getting everything wrong all the time, but with real confidence and bombastic sort of, like that line about, had a line about Winston Churchill, I mean, this was a man who killed Hitler with his bare hands, She's just getting things slightly wrong, or quite a lot wrong.
But did you say it was based on a real person?
Yeah, it's based on quite a few people who over the years, but it's one of my first ever acting jobs. I was doing radio show, like on either tiny pilot show, like 2 lines, and it was full of like quite famous people. And I walked in and I just felt like such a, do you know what I mean? Like suddenly you're from a sort of working class Nottingham background and stuff. And even though I'd been to drama school in Manchester, so it wasn't like RADA or anything, but it was a good one, and you're like, da-da-da, I can do this, and then you get there and you suddenly feel like this little dweeb. Because they're all just like, they're like ravenous. They're just like, as soon as they come in, they're just talking to each other and they're sort of like, have you worked with so-and-so? Is there any chance I could give you... Just trying to network immediately, but furiously. And you're just like, and then there's this one woman was just like constantly just sort of like networking with every person in the room, and then would see me and just kind of like turn away. You're no good to me. But then the woman who Anna's based on came in like 2 hours late with a latte, with the headband, and just came and went, sorry, darling, sorry, I'm late. You know what I mean? And but just was incredible and really wonderful and really like kind to me straight away, but so funny. She was talking. I used like lines she just said. Like she was talking about going to Hungary and funnily enough, like Budapest, seeing this Hungarian jazz fusion. And I remember she said, this is genuinely what she said. She went, and we sat there greedy with anticipation. But it's just normal. Do you know what I mean? There's no like. But yeah, she said to me. She turned around to me. She went. So this other actress was who's a really good actress, you know what I mean? But it was just was like talking to her and trying to get points off her. But my Anna was like kind of, not interested in that. Do you know what I mean? Because she was sort of better than that, and sort of turned around to me and I was reading Dostoevsky, right? I think I was like 27 or something. She was like, what are you reading, darling? And I went, it's Dostoevsky. And she went, oh, fuck off. She went, fuck off, I love that. So how old are you, darling? I was like 21. Oh, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? I like owe her everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just,
is she a working actress?
Yeah. I don't want to say who she is. Because partly, just because...
Does she know that you do that character?
So. Although I'll tell you what's really weird, right? I was at this falafel shop, right? Near where I live.
Oh, fuck it off.
This is when I was going... I know. Oh, it's incredible.
You must.
You've got to go. If you can, you must. If you get a chance, you must go there. But she... but I was sorry, I was there, and it's where, you say, you give your name and then they bring it out, so I'd said Colin, obviously, which I hate saying, Colin. But then I was sat outside waiting for it. And I was doing this, it was when I was doing the Death of Anna Mann, so it was before I came up to Edinburgh. So I was really in my head with Anna and like going through the script and trying to, and genuinely the guy came out and went, Anna. And I went, yes, genuinely, because I was so in Anna. And then this other woman went, yes. And it was her. It was the actress, the Anna.
And she is called Anna?
Yeah.
All right, we've got a baby reindeer situation on the house.
And she went, yes, that's me, darling. I was like, oh my God. And I had a moment where I wanted to go up to her and say, but like, I was like, if this goes wrong, you're going to think I'm taking the piss out of you.
Yeah.
And it's really not. Like,
No.
like when people used to go, oh God, that Anna Mann character is such a monster, isn't she?
No,
Like,
she's
no,
lovable.
she's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
She's amazing, and genuinely, like, it sounds a bit pretentious, but like in the end of that show where she sort of like lets me be me, do you know what I mean? I take the wig off and stuff, and she's like, it's all right, darling, you can come out now. But genuinely, I think she did give me that, weirdly, as I say, coming from that a background where it was almost like, oh, don't show me not right, don't let anyone see you not right, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And just a fear of kind of putting your head above the parapet, whatever, so her as a person, but then also that as a character. But how would you explain that over a falafel? It would just come out like, oh, I did a character based on you. Oh, right, okay. You know what I mean? It's
I know.
Potentially. I don't know, or maybe
That's
she'd love
amazing.
it.
You bumped
Possibly
Yeah,
she'd
that's
love
crazy
it.
coincidence.
It was a really weird moment, yeah.
And that you
I
nearly
sat
took
there
a
like
cough.
shivering. You what?
You nearly took a coffee.
Yeah. Or a falafel.
Falafel, even worse.
Can you
isn't it?
imagine? That's mine, darling. She was what was she? I can't remember what she was talking about, but it was some mad shit,
That's
But
brilliant.
yeah. But anyway, yeah.
I mean, I
How
feel
we got
bad,
onto
bad
that,
if it's
yeah.
actually her now, but having been a fan of the Anna Mann character and everything, there was a poster in the Glasgow subway for some performance at like one of the theatres, and it was like
Yeah.
Dolce Vita or something like that.
Right.
And honestly, it was the spitting image of Anna Mann, and every time I was in it, it would crack me up looking at it. I don't know if you ever saw it, but fucking hell, it's
I
like
don't.
it couldn't look more like you as Anna Mann.
Oh, really?
I'll have a picture of it somewhere. I'll
People
show
do
you.
send me like videos and stuff of people chatting about stuff, or their aunties and stuff. It's like, oh my God, it's Anna Mann.
You obviously done like loads of live stuff, but you've done loads of like telly stuff and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing as well. Like, how do you find like do you prefer like doing live stuff or?
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't say this, but I think I do because the telly brings in a lot more money. But but it's
Yeah.
like, I do obviously love telly, but it is, the reality is you go out there, like I go out last night. Do you know what I mean? It was 8:20, my own room, not literally my bedroom. I've got a room to myself, and people were lovely. It was a lovely crowd, brilliant thing, and you're just like, yeah, Then you go on set and you got like one line, and you're sort of like trying to get it right, and it's still brilliant. It's just kind of it's a very different discipline, which it can be hard sometimes jumping from one to the other.
Yeah,
Like I say,
totally.
I flew here from Budapest filming, which was a lot of fun. To be fair, that was fantastic, and I do love filming. But I just the instant hit of making people laugh and just it's pathetic, but the vindication and the sort of sense of like, yes, I am loved, Whereas when you try and do that on set, like
you're ruining the
genuinely, I
take.
used to do like scenes originally. And I'd be like, why is no one laughing? And it's like, well, they can't laugh, can they? Because they're in the scene. And the camera would change. You know what I mean? They're not laughing. And so, what do you think happens? You know what I mean? So it's a very weird, even though I trained as an actor, I think I only did bits and bobs for the first few years, really.
Aye.
So it's only like in the last sort of 12 years or something that I've been really, or maybe more than that actually, but it takes me a long time to get my head around things.
So all the sort of on-set acting stuff, did that sort of come about because of your on-stage comedy career rather than the sort of acting?
What did I get that? Yeah, a lot of,
from being at
especially
Fringe
the
and
comedy
stuff?
stuff. Yeah. But also from castings as well, from auditions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely helped. I think like those shows where I was doing multi-characters particularly, which I did go up for a thing, right? Which I was quite excited about. I won't say what it was because, I'd like them to get me up for it again probably. But it was quite a cool thing to be up for. And then I got there and the cast director was just like, I sort of did the bit. I'd really worked on it because I really wanted to be in it. And she was like, great, that's great. Now, I'm a big fan of Anna Mann. My friend loves her. Would you mind doing a video as Anna Mann?
Doing a cameo.
Basically just for me now. And I was like, oh,
That's
okay.
cheeky, that.
And I was sort of did this, hello, darling, rah, 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 it's me, Anna Mann. And I had a beard and fucking, so it was just weird. But I was a bit like, oh, you just sort of got me in to do Anna Mann stuff.
Yeah, that's really cheeky, that.
I mean, I was glad to get through the door,
I know. I suppose I was like, well, give me the job and then I'll do it. Or something.
Yeah, I should have said that.
Yeah, surely.
I should have a bit more like kind of, yeah.
But obviously, a lot of people will know you, I guess, from Afterlife.
Yeah.
Which I remember you saying to me, like a lot of that was improvised and stuff like that. You had free rein to kind of do that a lot.
Yeah, a little around the script. There was pop scripts and stuff. But
It must have been a lot of fun.
Oh, it's lovely. Yeah. And obviously, it's a bit of one of the bucket list, I suppose, isn't it? Literally making Ricky Gervais do that big laugh he does and all that. It's quite a beautiful thing, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about people not laughing on set.
Yeah,
during that.
well, that's
You get
true,
the best of
actually.
both.
Yeah, to be fair, that is, I mean, that, yeah, I suppose he was, wasn't he? But
You finally
so
made
maybe
it
actually
happen.
they just don't like me and all the other things. No, but it's that is rare that you get someone doing that. But he will wait till the end, but or until it gets to a certain point or whatever.
Did you not need to improvise like a song or something for it?
Yeah,
No?
the taxi driver one.
Aye.
But I've been doing it was just off. I think it was still during the pandemic. It was like towards the end, and I did a lot of Anna Mann shows in lockdown, where I was doing just making up. Because you know she was in like Aliens the musical. No one in space can hear me scream, but boy can they hear me sing. You know. And I did like a RoboCop. I just like because you know in the pandemic when you're doing lockdown, I don't know about you, but it was weirdly I ended up getting quite a bit of acting work, so it was fine. But at first I just went into complete panic and just like I'll do every show. You know, and started my own Zoom room type thing, which was really good because like Anna's there, like, darling, who's that behind you? I think there's, you know, because you can see him. You know, it was really, really good, really good fun. But I was just desperately trying to make stuff up I was doing one like 2 a week and stuff, and just trying to write material. Yeah. And in your head, you're like, yeah, I can do that, but then you forget it took you a year to write the first lead material. You know,
absolutely.
But I do it all like RoboCop. What was it? Half man, half machine, all spectacular. You know, RoboCop the musical. It was good. Yeah, and then so I was just like primed, I guess, to do something, and then I came up with Taxi Driver the musical. Yeah,
amazing.
And then Ricky sort of like, I did like a very rough version, just off the top of my head, and then we like. He added some lines and stuff, and we did it a couple more times. You know, it was great. But having like Dave Earl there and so on, and Ethan was really good because Dave's a real Dave Earl. You know Dave Earl.
Brian Gittins, right?
Yeah. He's always been like when we were in Derek. He's very good, but he's a fucker when you're improvising. Because I have this annoying thing sometimes when I'm improvising where they'll ask me a question and I go what like that because clearly you know. Buying for time, sort of thing in character going, what? And then Dave would be like, Dave would always go, what? Like that, back at me. So, and I was primed for it this time. So he's like, he goes, what you been in? You know, and I goes, what? And he goes, what? And I went, Taxi Driver the musical. You're not getting me this time, do you know? So he's a good little sort of cattle prod to, you know, but it's like, you know, you see them, I've never done them as such, but what's his name? Judd Apatow stuff, you know, and you watch the behind the scenes and stuff, and it's like, so you're like, fuck, I really want to, you know, like 40-year-old virgin and stuff, where they're all just like trying to make each other laugh, you know.
Absolutely.
So it was really like a blessing to do that. You know,
totally. And is there not something for the bloopers that you said people shout at you sometimes or something like that?
Oh, yeah. No, well, that is actually, so that was in the film where I say the line, there's a bit where he says, Ken says, I was high risk during the pandemic, but then I was high risk with AIDS. And it was, and he says that's because I like to take it up the arse, which is, you know. But then afterwards it says my choice, and I, in all honesty, I felt like the joke is a funny joke, but I was a bit like, am I all right with that? So I deliberately kind of made my choice the punchline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, my choice, I just kind of made my choice, like a proper, like, again, like with Anna, rather than make him just, do you know what I mean, like a figure of fun or whatever. Yeah. Like he's got agency and he's got kind of like, you know what I mean? He's got character and strength and stuff. But then, I get my choice. Fucking hell. Not to be honest, it's not like all the time. But there was this, I was out with my family at this pub and, in the country, and this couple came up, was like, oh, my dad's a really big fan, you know, can you do my choice on the thing? I was like, okay, yeah. You know, I was like, oh, that's nice, you know, it's a nice little moment. Yeah, I don't mind, my choice, you know. And they were like, oh, great. And then they were getting more and more pissed, but like on the table over there, near us, and just like kept going, my choice, you know, and it's like, oh, all right.
Yeah, we've done that.
And then anyway, me and my kids got a boat down the river, right? Because it was like this country pub, and you could like hire a boat and just go for a little. And fucking, they're literally on the bridge. It was like over the. It was like that bit in Alan Partridge. I'm like rowing along with the kids. They've gone, hey, my choice. And I'm like, fucking up. And I remember this woman, like, and they were like jumping into the river, and I was like, I don't think this is safe. Like, I think they're gonna die. Like, just desperate. But it was like desperately trying to like.
Yeah. What was their choice? Did they?
Yeah, it was their choice. This one would just look like, you know, it's like with the riots where they got footage of them, they've just gone mad. And she was like that. She just go, my choice. Like she didn't know what she was saying anymore. She just, and I was like, what's happening? Please stop. You know? But
Given the context of that joke you just described as well, what a mad thing for a family to be sort of saying to each other. Like.
Yeah. I think it's quite, but I sort of quite proud of that. In that he is quite, it's like, it's his choice.
It was your choice, it was your decision to make that
your choice.
My choice.
The fun, the twist on it.
It does. People are very lazy with it, though. Like on Twitter, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure. Like, I'm on a 8:20 at the Cabaret Bar tonight. Your choice. Yeah, it's not a good one, is it? Only do it when it's good, please.
But I would say like something like the not right thing in your show. Like there's a few of those, and I'm always like thinking about this because like there's certain like stand-ups now that almost have these like like bits or just like. Not even catchphrases, but just bits that really just hit home and that people will repeat and stuff. Like, see when you see with that show, like when you were doing the not right bit and things like that.
Yeah.
Are you conscious of like, oh, this is like a bit that people might repeat, or are you just going like you're just using it because it's obviously in the show and all that kind of stuff?
I guess, I don't know really. I guess I'm still finding that out with this. I mean, I suppose with Anna, like, fuck off, I love it and stuff. There were and Ripple of Recognition. They're deliberate catchphrases that evolved, organically sort of thing. But I guess over time I was like, all right, it's it. But it's tricky, like because saying you're right. I feel sometimes at the end of the show I've said it too many times. You're not right, or they're not right. But I think probably it could be.
Yeah. No,
I haven't really thought of it as a catchphrase.
It's a fucking belter, but it certainly is one for me. I'm using it like it's a catchphrase. I love it.
Oh, it's not right. Not right, is it? My mum still says it. My brother will say some daft thing, My brother Steve, he's like literally ringing up and he's like, "Hey up, Cole, how's your bottom?" You know what I mean? He just says stuff like that. Like, well, why do you say that, Steve? Oh, I just think something's saying it. Yeah, it is, I suppose. But mum would be like, he's not right, He's not right.
Be better off dead.
Yeah. Might as well be dead. It's not quite.
Not quite.
To be fair, she doesn't actually say that anymore since various people have died.
Seems insensitive.
Maybe it's in bad taste now. Do you know what I mean?
Would your parent or your family come and see the show?
Yeah, I mean, Steve is absolutely over the moon about it.
Really?
Because he calls. I'd say in the show he calls himself the Neen. And we don't know why he's given himself a nickname for like 20 years of the Neen. He just walks in like, here comes the Neen. Like,
what does it mean? What's the?
No one knows.
No idea.
Sometimes it's Auntie Neen, and it was like I say in the show. He sends Christmas cards to my kids that say birthday cards that say like "Happy Birthday, love from Uncle Stephen / Auntie Neen." And I said to him,
that's like his Anna Mann.
Why have you? Yeah, maybe. I says, why have you put Uncle Stephen / Auntie Neen? He goes, so they're not confused. That is a direct quote. Most of it is direct quotes. He's very excited. My brother Pete, who's like, I talk about how he's very like earnest. He's a lovely guy, but talks like Sean Bean. Like, everything's like that, right? Yeah. No, you're right. And he did see the show, and he messaged me, I think it will bring much healing. He's quite a sort of new age guy.
The audience?
Are you?
I don't know. Everyone, I think. I mean, we do talk a lot about it. And it really has. I was really nervous because some of the stuff you're talking about is kind of, it's deep-seated kind of trauma and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's. I feel like I've really got to a place with it where it's, especially with my mum. It is. I know I say at the top, it is full of love, joy, and understanding. And if you don't like that, you can fuck off. But I say like. And I've especially now I'm in Edinburgh, there's little bits I've added that just because I definitely didn't want it to ever be an attack on anyone. Do you know what I mean? It was really nice getting that short review that totally understood the warmth and love and stuff. But it's also you're talking about people. What's important to me is people. I talk in the show how sometimes people with neurodiversity are like, why do you have to have a label? I don't believe in labels, and this kind of thing. And I'm like, it's really helpful having. That's a very privileged position to be in a way because. When you grow up without knowing why you are not right, in inverted commas, it's like, it's really hard. And you're trying to struggle in the normal world and you got all this mad shit going on in your head. Do you know what I mean? And then it just passes down and everyone's, before you know it, everyone's deeply damaged kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you could unpick it and go, oh, that was, you're okay, you're all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I say, you're all right. You're not right, but you're all right.
That's like a badge you could sell.
Yeah.
And I really admire the way you can do that in such like a light, fun way, you know, in such a breezy way that, you know, like I think in the wrong hands, that kind of thing could be really, you know, it starts with a blackout and it's really, you know, you know, really hammily done.
Yeah, it's funny. I've got a few moments that are quite sincere, and I try and keep them very few and far between, you know, and still try and have a laugh. Or still try and have a laugh, you know, still try and have like a twist on it. Because sometimes it can get a bit preachy. My wife Kat works on it with me, and our sort of thing going through our sort of mantra was like, it can't be a TED talk. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes you see these shows and it is like, oh, I've just been lectured at for an hour. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's a fine balance to hit, isn't it? And our thing was, you know, which is the common thing, which is just like showing, not telling, you know. So trying to just show all these stories without going, that was because of that, and that was because of that, you know.
Well, I think that's what you're amazing at, because as I say, like bringing the characters to life and stuff like that, and like, I felt like when I was watching it as well, it's like, you know, like you're drawing on your experience, like doing characters in the past and acting and things like that, and bringing that all up into a stand-up show, and it's all the better for it as well. Yeah. And I think like showing, not telling is like is the big thing with that, because sometimes you could just sort of go, oh, my uncle's like this and that, and not, and just explain rather. But you're literally showing you're becoming your dad. You're becoming, you know, like,
well, my biggest inspiration, and it sounds a bit mad because of who I am, but is like Richard Pryor for that.
Really?
I know everyone fucking quotes Richard Pryor, don't they? But it's like,
well, he's done that big Mudbone thing where he would do like 20 minutes as some, you know, like a junkie or whatever, and a wino and all this kind of stuff.
That's one story I read in his biography, which was where apparently he did this late night gig somewhere or something. And he just started improvising this story about a young like black kid on a roof about to jump, and then all the people like come in to try and tell him not to or do, and all the people who lived on the street, you know, that he'd grown up with, and apparently it was like 30 minutes just improvisation. Everyone's like in absolute hysterics, just the whole, and then at the end he just jumps, and then Richard Pryor just walks off, like to silence, and it was like the most. He was amazing, man. Yeah. So good. But I mean, it's just the thing of the way he would tell these stories, you know, much, much, much more upsetting and traumatic than any of mine. But like, but the way he could talk about, you know, his aunt, his grandma on it, who was like his mum, you know, was essentially his mum beating him, and but in such a way that everyone's in hysterics, and he's not shying away from any of the reality of it. But it's like hilarious, because I guess maybe that's it, because he's becoming him, you know. So it's
absolutely,
yeah.
And like, see, when you were saying
the first comedian to ever like Richard Pryor.
Do you know, there's a guy that used to be in the Scottish circuit. He used to have a brilliant bit. Like, he was talking about like, he's like, why have I not achieved all this stuff in life? And he's like, you know, he's like, I look at Richard Pryor and he grew up in a brothel and all this stuff, and then he's like, I was watching this guy on YouTube and he's got no arms, no legs, and he can still do all this stuff, and he's like, and that's my problem. He's like, Mum, why were you not more of a whore? I need to get rid of these arms and legs, like, as if that's been the thing holding him back.
Probably right, actually. You know.
But you were saying, like, obviously when you started like doing like yourself, but you'd be kind of introducing characters, which sounds a lot kind of like the kind of thing I remember reading about Steve Coogan doing when he was starting out, doing all these different characters and things. And you have done Alan Partridge as well. How was that experience?
It was great. That was the first in lockdown gig that I got, so that was like, thank Jesus, you know. Because I do thank Jesus for my work. Oh, sorry, is that not?
No, you've not done it for coming on this show.
Yeah. But he, thank you. Sorry, thank you, Jesus. It was. I mean, just I couldn't. It was too much, really, for me. It was like just walking on set and seeing him in the full thing. It was literally like he'd stepped into a dream, or sort of like into, I don't mean like a dream, you know, it was lovely, but like as in literally, is this real? Yeah. So bizarre, you're there being a character, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it must be so surreal. I've heard other people, because obviously, you know, in the late 90s or whatever, when I'm Alan Partridge came out, and obviously knowing you before that, and there's people that grew up loving it or loved it in their 20s, whatever, and then it's sort of skipped a generation. Yeah. Everyone still loved it, so now there's like a new era of like younger comedians that are in it,
hasn't it?
And it must be fucking bizarre.
Well, because I mean, I remember talking to someone about his age, and they said it was like when The Office came out, just changed comedy so much, and everything became natural and real, and obviously both things are equally brilliant to me. But I think it was hard then to keep doing that kind of insane character, you know, or like heightened character.
Yeah.
And then I think things just tastes just go back, don't they? And then
Totally
go back to what they used to be. But he what was brilliant as well, he was just very driven and still, and very like going over and over and over the script and fully concentrating on what he was doing. Do you know what I mean? He no resting on laurels or anything like that.
I reckon if he's at a falafel stand and someone shouts Alan, he's putting his hand up.
Yeah, I'm here.
And he's getting a few catchphrases shouted at him.
Yeah, must do. Yeah.
He's getting actual cows pushed off bridges on his.
Actual cow. Yeah. But he, it was great seeing him. And what was I going to say? It was good. It was good. I mean, the only thing was obviously like he's the hilarious guy, and you're like, I was playing like the producer, just being like, Alan, we need to, go on. And he's like, oh, can I please have a really funny part so that I can show Steve Coogan I'm really funny. But he did actually, I think, cast me from. He came to see Anna Mann.
Amazing,
brilliant. When I did it before the end Death of Anna Mann show, I did like a week. Anna Mann's late night cheese and sex party, which is a lot of fun. Like with guests, So
brilliant.
I think a lot of these things do come from. That's why it's always worth gigging. Even when I've had years where I've not been that happy with the show, there's still get some sort of casting off it. Do you know what I mean? It always kind of pays back for me, really.
Absolutely. And you've done Murder and Successville as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I wanted to ask you about because I really loved that program. Loved it, and me and my sister to this day really quote your Gary Barlow character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Gary Barlow playing a vicar.
Bad about that. Yeah,
honestly, that cracks us up so much.
I sort of improvised the whole thing about a biscuit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, because we sort of wait for
in 1994. I ate a lot of those jammy dodges. And then you were like shouting at.
I don't even remember it.
You were embodying a jammy dodger, shouting to Gary Barlow to be eaten.
Eat me, Gary. Eat me. Like that, wasn't it? Yeah. My party with Murder and Successful, I find all prank stuff really stressful, and that was like high end, as in it was two celebrities, and they knew they sort of knew. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you were surprising them and stuff, but I still the whole thing of like it's weird for me, like just the deceit thing. I'm such a sort of. I don't know if this is a neurodiverse thing, but I'm such a sort of like, here is a stage, there is the audience, and we don't meet. I find I look back and I love it, but at the time I was really super stressed.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be stressful.
It's so like,
it's very funny though.
It was like going against all my instincts to have to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and the Jimmy Carr one, that was really good. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, the laugh. Yeah.
But like it was the idea that he could only talk in that laugh. So it was like, we were Alan Carr and Jimmy Carr with my Luke Kempner. Luke Kempner's an amazing impressionist, sorry, and improviser.
Is he not in Les Mis at the moment?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I saw him in Budapest. He's in that show. I'm doing. But he was kind of like the sort of, we were like the Cray brothers, but the Carr brothers. So he was like, you better, play ball or, whatever. And then I'm like, just like staring, like kind of like sort of like Chewbacca is the idea. So he could only like like this. It's like, oh, you're making him angry, And then just like got a hammer and like started smashing up the table that we were at and like throwing things around. It was quite very good. It was quite therapeutic, I think. Yeah. Quite cathartic.
And there was a Piers Morgan one you done as well.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
How did you find
they put loads of like prosthetics on me, which nothing against the guys doing prosthetics, but you sort of feel it's quite weird. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't. You don't really know what to do with it, I suppose, with your face. Do you know what I mean? Because you just got all the... Well, you just feel like someone's grabbing your face because there's loads of stuff stuck to it, But, Piers Morgan that was like a sort of superhero type episode. So every episode they'd make it like, one's like Narcos, one's like sort of, more of an Agatha Christie, one's like that. And they did a sort of superhero one, so he was like Lex Luthor, but Piers Morgan. It's really good fun. And... it was really awful. It was like Tom Davis, who plays the detective, was like talking, and he was like telling me something. I just go, "You're quite fat, aren't you?" And he's like, "What? No." And then I just like destroy him. But I was proud of that one because that was a real like one take. Yeah, they just did it, and it was like at the end of the day, they only had a little bit of time, and then I just kind of some necessity the mother of invention kind of thing, because it was like I couldn't fuck it up basically.
Yeah.
But it was all basically just.
Because that one looked like a right
slagging
laugh
off
as well, because they're leaving corpsing in and stuff in that, and you are making people laugh on the set and stuff. So that must have been fun. Festival crowds.
Tom is like just a genius. Man.
He's very funny in it as well.
I opened for him in a couple of his warm-up gigs. Actually, he was a great guy, and he's brilliant. Actually,
I haven't seen his stand-up actually. Well, he used to do sketch gigs with me and Ferg when we were starting out. And
really?
And he would stay in character, which some people are not think that's a dreadful thing, but I was always very impressed. He's staying characters like this Welsh B&B owner who was like really lascivious and stuff, and it was really like just like all through the gig.
Would you never do that with Anna Mann or anything? Would you ever be in character for a bit before it?
I thought about it, but I think I have my window of performance, and then I just like power down like C-3PO. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can't. It's like that's why when we gigged the other day, and was I comparing? I wasn't I?
Yeah, you were hosting the show,
and I forgot how tiring it is. Yeah, because when I go out and they're comparing, and I sort of realise why often with compares, you're quite, I don't mean this in a bad way, but you have to be a bit like, all right, how we doing? Yeah, you know what I mean? And quite low energy and just chatting. And but I'm like, all right, I'll go out and do my best. You know what I mean? Like, give it 110%, And they come down like, oh, fuck. And it's like, I've got to go out again. Okay. And you got to ramp up again. Do you know what I mean? Because my performance is always like quite high energy. I find it very, very hard to do low energy. I mean, the more I've done it, the more I can relax with it. But it
was interesting watching you that night actually, because or that weekend, because like you were going out and just doing like the stuff from the show you're doing now, and it's like there is a sort of feeling in club comedy sometimes that like the compere has to come out and you have to be like, who's drinking and where's the stag doing all this kind of stuff, and you kind of come out and just like spoke to them at the start and then just done your stuff, and you're like, you can just do your stuff. And then get the acts on.
I mean, I don't know. What is the sort of etiquette really?
I don't know. I just think, I think sometimes we impose rules on it that aren't real.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, who's here on a stag do? Whose birthday is it? And all that stuff. I'm like, well, I mean, I was trying to do as much. I try and bring them in as much as possible, but I'm like, I'm not that interested in. No.
And what this guy does for a living or whatever.
There was a thing I kept saying that, which I keep forgetting to put back in the show because I found it really funny, but of just. Do you remember there was like a group of blokes on the front row? There was one guy in the middle, and genuinely at the moment going, have you been here all night? And then I just kept, every time I was on, and it was like, the audience were aware at some point during my bit, I'd just go, have you always been here?
Which to me actually is a very Anna Mann code. Kind of purposely
just
wrong.
Very surreal. Often those things come from a genuine, like it's sort of like giving yourself the permission to like go, oh, this thought that's come in your head, just say it. It's probably okay. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Would you host gigs like that as Anna Mann previously?
Yeah, I used to. Yeah. So I think that's why I found that one. I enjoyed it a lot, but it was quite a new experience for me in a way because I hadn't done many as myself before at that point. But but as Anna Mann, I used to quite a lot, and I used to host. That, as I say, the late night cheese and sex pies, which were just gigs basically. But I had done quite a lot. I think the first time I compared, I got asked to compare, and this was years and years when I was doing like the Carnival of Monsters, and I wasn't really on the circuit as such. I was doing gigs, but I wasn't doing the sort of more gig sort of thing. And well, I don't know what the word you use, but. So I just compared. I'll do a different character for every bit.
Wow!
And but there was it was this big like charity dues. There was like 12 acts on, so I was like doing coming out as a different character.
Wow!
How did it go?
Really well, but it was like sometimes I think, why do I do that to myself? Do you know what I mean? Why do I give myself that ridiculous challenge?
Yeah, because you're meant to be the one constant in the room.
I know. It's like, who the fuck's this going on? And by the end, it's like, hello, just anything. I'm a fish.
Is it kind of hard with that though? Because obviously, when you've done the Death of Anna Mann show, that was like you kind of killing off the character, and then obviously it was very successful, get nominated for the award and all that stuff. And I suppose it's like the thing that happened with Hannah Gadsby in the net. It's like, I'm quitting this, and then it's so successful, and you're like, did you want to kind of keep doing the character after, or are you happy?
No, I really didn't. I really, in my brain, it was like she's dead, and then I did kind of partly, you know, what it's like, you know, especially as an actor, you have like a few slow months or whatever, and started to go, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll do an Anna podcast. I'll do it. And then I did a few live Anna podcasts because I have a podcast, Anna Mann podcast, still out there, which people love. You know, people are like, oh, I've listened to the whole thing twice. And I'm like, I haven't ever listened.
Stream of consciousness the whole time.
It's literally just her going, anyway, so I'm outside and you know, just saying all this mad stuff. But I did, so I did like 3 with guests and they're all right, but I had a beard and I was doing my own stuff, as in not, like genuinely, I used to think of it as not my stuff. Like, my mate was saying to me the other night, right, he remembers this gig. I was closing, it was his gig, but they had to be done by a certain time and they were overrunning. And he was like, oh, I know we asked you to do 30, but can you just do 20? And I was like, yeah, I can. I don't remember saying this. I went, I can, but whether Anna will, I don't know. And then apparently I did 45.
It doesn't really hold up in court. That
Yeah. But it did. But she doesn't like. It really was like a. And it sounds very bullshit, but it's true that it was like. It was like a slightly, what's it called, disassociation or something, where it was like someone else would just take over me for a bit.
I can't imagine Anna Mann would respect a flash from a tech at the back of the room.
No. Oh yes, darling. All right, any second now. You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, there I was. You know, start a whole new thing. But yeah. It's. But in terms of a killing Rob, I am very much like. That's when something stops, that's the end, you know. And I did a few of those, and I felt like I was ragging her corpse. It's a horrible phrase. I was like, this is just shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't... Because I'm not doing her justice. Do you know what I mean? This character worked so long, and now I'm just saying anything. I was like, got to draw a line.
And do you feel like the shackles...
I get cameo. People keep asking me to do cameos, and I'm like, oh.
Aye.
Just feels,
Do you feel the shackles have come off a wee bit now? You've done it as yourself for a bit, and because like you're still like embodying all that stuff, and like, you know, there's still wee bits of Anna there and stuff.
Yeah.
But like it's just like coming through you now, basically. So I guess that's something.
You know, Joe Wilkinson was. I did a few warm ups with him, a few sort of tryout nights with him, and he was really good. He saw me do the stand up right at the beginning, which was about a year and a half ago or something. Well, actually, it was before I did the Death of Anna Mann, so I started doing it.
Oh, really?
It was a bit weird, you know. But and he was like, but he said a really good line, which said, "I think you can afford to be more fabulous." And what I was doing, I think, was almost trying to be like a blokey stand up.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? To be like, you know. Nothing weird about me, sort of thing. Just being a stand-up. Like my image of what a stand-up was, which is quite offensive to stand-ups, you know what I mean? But then, you know, so now I think Anna is just sort of absorbed. So yeah, I will, you know, sort of say to him, "What's your name?" And then just go, "No," you know, whatever, you know, those kind of stupid shit like that. You know? Brilliant. So she pops up, but it's sort of a part of me now, and it's
And sorry, going forward, do you think? I mean, is this what you plan to do for the next, you know, wee while now? Just
I
be
think
yourself,
so. I mean, I change my mind every day, you know. But I think, I would love. I've got like already sort of, you know, in my mind, I've got 2 next stages of what, because this story is just all stuff up till I was like 7. You know, it's very much the beginning of my life, really. And I want to talk about. My mum used to take me to the Trading Post, which was the Nottingham Country and Western Cowboy Society. But it was like it was above the co-op, right? It was just this big room above the co-op, and everyone would dress up as cowboys, and there'd be a band play. But it was before like line dancing and all that, so it wasn't. It was just a band, and then loads of people and like blokes dressed up with like proper full-on cowboys outfits and guns. With actual guns with blanks. It's never. I don't think there's no way they could be doing it now. I don't know, but like they do shootouts where they get up and they go, right, it's time for the shootout. And I was remember this guy going, "We do not condone violence," right? You know? And then they like stand either side and pull. You know, they go on 3, draw, and then they pull their gun and fire, and it'd be blanks. You know, so
brilliant,
but insane, and everyone was just pissed out their heads, and I don't know how. You know, I was like 8, and there's loads of other kids there, just people smoking, you know, just off their heads and with guns, being cowboys. There's got to be a show.
Yeah,
in
that show's
you know?
going to be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe they still do at the Grand Ole Opry in Glasgow.
Do they really?
Yeah, I believe
It's
so.
a funny thing. I think it's that generation that was their equivalent to us would be, I don't know, a Batman or something. I don't know. I don't know what
The westerns.
Yeah.
and all.
That's
They're
what they
huge,
watched, didn't
yeah.
it, when they were kids. So to them, it has this. I remember seeing. They often used to play, which I actually sing it in the show a little bit, weirdly now. But you know the American trilogies, you know that one. I wish I was in the land of cotton. Elvis does it.
Oh, right,
On
yeah.
a morning not forgotten. It's probably like a very racist song. It like ends like glory, glory, hallelujah. That one.
Yeah.
And the blokes and women, you know, would take their cowboy hats off, hold them to their chest.
From Nottingham.
From Nottingham. Or like Derby. Like, you know, stand there. Glory, glory, hallelujah. And they'd fucking tears running down their face. And then they'd fire their guns in the air. I remember they had this, they used to have a big poster behind them, like a banner of the Confederate flag. And it said on it, the South will rise again. Insane.
I think at the Grand Ole Opry they still
quite
do it. They
fascinating.
do a
Yeah.
salute to the fucking Confederate flag.
Something
or
like
something
that. I'm not certain they've still got the Confederate. That might have gone, I'm not sure. But they've still got
but
elements
I
of it.
also
yeah.
think, I'm like now, obviously, with everything, especially that's going on in Britain
Yeah,
today, that all sort of has a horrible resonance to it. But like, it was I don't know. I mean,
It's kind of cosplay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cosplay, and it was I think it was innocent, really.
Yeah. I
Now,
don't know.
obviously, it'd be like, but like, it was,
How much did they really know what that meant at that time?
Yeah,
you know?
totally. I think they thought they were Clint Eastwood or John Wayne, you know, and they call themselves the Duke. There's one called Minnesota. This guy called Lone Star, who was this massive diabetic guy, but he was Lone Star. He'd come up like Lone Star, here he comes, and he was the fastest drawer in Nottingham. It really was. No one could beat him.
I'm surprised there's so much of that because obviously, like, I like when I went to Nottingham last, like, there's so much Robin Hood shit there, like Maid Marian Way and all this
They
kind
should
of
be
stuff.
shooting
Like,
bows and arrows and
I
stuff.
know. I thought they'd be cosplaying as that more than the westerns.
I think, I don't know how much Nottingham people really relate to that, to
don't
be
care about
honest.
it.
I think there used to be a thing called Tales of Robin Hood, where he'd like a bit like the Jorvik Viking Centre. It's not there anymore, but you get in like a little car, you know, like a cable car, but just going around and see like. Brave Robin. You know, stuff as you get back. You know, like the animatronic figure, but they were just dummies. The light would appear on them and go, "I'll get that Robin Hood." Blew my mind. I've got a big affection. Oh, a shout out! I got to say to a show, James Rowland. Do you know him? Summer Hall. He's a theatre actor, but it's like stand up in that it's just like an hour of him telling you all this stuff, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
But he does a like recreation of the whole of Robin Hood within his show, and it's to music and everything, and that did actually spark up the excitement for Robin Hood that I did have. And actually, as a kid, I seem to think like, why isn't everyone talking about Robin Hood?
Yeah.
But I don't think Nottingham's. I think probably tourist-wise it is, but I think actually local people aren't like, yeah, we're Robin Hood.
Well, when I was a kid, I went to Centre Parks at Sherwood Forest.
Yeah,
and that was
right,
that was a sort of core memory for me as a kid. And I think there was maybe a Robin Hood film in the early 90s as well. So, like, I think it was quite...
Kevin Costner one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
aye.
that was massive.
So, for me, like, it was
That's
like
the
when
one
I went...
where Christian Slater's in it as Will Scarlett. We're not even attempting an English accent. This is a bit where he goes, there was a rich man from Nottingham. Very weird. But yeah, no, I loved all that, all Robin Hood stuff as a kid. And yeah, I was always like, why are we not? But I suppose, like, what would we do? Just like walk around in green or something?
There's only so much you can do, right?
Steal from the rich and
Hey,
give
we
to
love
the
Robin
poor.
Hood, don't we? Yes, we do. You know, they wanted to be cowboys, apparently. You know?
But listen, thank you so much, Colin, for joining us.
Oh, mate, I've had a wonderful time.
Lovely to have you on.
I know. So your show is on every day at 8:20.
8:20, yeah.
At the Pleasance.
Pleasance Courtyard, yeah.
Great. Well,
Highly recommend. Are you going on tour as well?
Then I'm going everywhere. Yeah.
Brilliant. Have you got your dates yet? Or?
For the tour?
Yeah.
So probably the easiest place is to go on berksnest.com.
Yes.
Berks Nest are my producers at Berks, B-E-R-K.
Yeah,
Yes.
Berk. It's Nest. We'll put it in the
N-E-S-T,
description.
yes.
Do you know
But that's,
where do you play in Glasgow? Do you know?
Probably the stand-up.
Probably stand again. Yeah.
I'm so
great.
terrible at like... People go, you know you're playing here. And I'm like, am I?
Yeah. Honestly, highly recommended. Ever since I seen your show in March, I'm like,
Oh, thanks,
go and see
He was
Colin in
talking
August,
about it in
'cause
March
I-
as well. It wasn't just
Do you know
today.
there's that whole bit about the woman dancing by me on the train? Which
Yes.
I keep wanting to put in because you loved it
did.
so much.
I
but
thought it was great.
There's nowhere for it to go, really.
Yeah.
But that was genuinely just got the whole train there, and this woman was going over and over a dance next to me, like listening to it and then doing the moves, and yeah, it was.
It worked that way because stand-ups always say, "Oh, this just happened to me."
Yeah,
and I thought it was that good. I'm like, there's no way
Right.
that happened on that exact journey, and then you're like, "Oh no, it
It's
did."
one of the things you're like, oh, this is really funny. You're trying to repeat it,
Yeah,
and you just
yeah.
can't do it again because it was
Aye.
a genuine. Just anyway, but yeah,
Well, there's more than enough great stuff in there, so highly
thanks, pal.
recommended. So check out Colin, check him out online and stuff like that as well. Put all the links in the description. And as ever, guys, you can like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can follow us at SomewherePod on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And send any questions you've got to the email address, which is somewherepod@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Yes, cheers. Thanks, Colin. That was fantastic.